In this Washington Legal Foundation legally brief, former prosecutor David Douglas, who is a partner in the Washington, D.C. office of the law firm Shook, Hardy & Bacon, examines two recent U.S. Supreme Court rulings on money laundering and the broader impact these outcomes could have on white-collar criminal enforcement.
On June 2nd, the Supreme Court issued two opinions that together can help bring greater certainty to the ability of businesses to determine and defend their legal rights and responsibilities. In the first case, United States v. Santos, the court affirmed the reversal of a conviction arising from payments made in the course of operating an illegal lottery known as a bolito or a numbers game. In the second case, United States v. Cuellar, the court set aside the conviction of a man arrested for transporting the proceeds of illegal drug trafficking. What do these two cases, neither of which concern legitimate businesses or corporate law, mean for the corporate community? Quite a lot, actually, because in both cases, the court rejected broad constructions of statutory terms advanced by the government in favor of narrower constructions more favorable to defendants. Given the complexity and breadth of many statutes used by the government to prosecute corporations, these holdings offer important protections for companies and their executives. Santos concerned the proper construction of the federal money laundering statute, which restricts the use of the proceeds of criminal activities. The issue before the court was the appropriate definition of proceeds. The district court ruled that the word proceeds in the federal money laundering statute means profits, not criminal receipts. The Seventh Circuit affirmed. Finding that the alternative definitions were equally plausible, Justice Scalia wrote, "Under a long line of our decisions, the tie must go to the defendant. The rule of lenity requires ambiguous criminal laws to be interpreted in favor of the defendants subjected to them." It should be noted that only 4 justices signed on to Scalia's opinion, but the 5th member of the majority, Justice Stevens, agreed that lenity required the result, although in his view on narrower grounds. Additionally, although the rule of lenity applies only to construction of criminal statutes, the plurality opinion also observed that it has resolved ambiguity in a tax statute in favor of the taxpayer in a civil case, because the statute had criminal applications that triggered the rule of lenity. This language may prove significant as the government continues to use civil laws in conjunction with criminal laws to aggressively prosecute alleged corporate crimes. In the second case, United States v. Cuellar, the petitioner was arrested and charged with attempting to transport cash from illegal drug trafficking across the U.S.-Mexico border, knowing that the transportation was designed to, quote, conceal or disguise the nature, location, source, ownership, or control of the money, in violation of the federal money laundering statute. Petitioner challenged his conviction on the ground that the provision of the money laundering statute at issue was not violated by the mere concealment of the funds, but instead required that the transportation be designed to conceal the nature, location, source, etc. of the unlawful proceeds. A unanimous court agreed. As in Santos, it found that the construction offered by the government was overly broad and ignored terms used in the statute, namely use of the term designed, which the court held meant that concealment had to be a purpose of the transportation, not a mere incident to it. Of the two cases, Santos is the more significant because the controlling opinion provides more expansive guidance. It reaffirms the vitality and importance of the rule of lenity, which has been eroded through lower court decisions in recent years. Cuellar nevertheless illustrates the analytic approach set forth in Santos. Together, the two cases reaffirm the important principles that statutes must be construed according to the plain meaning of their text, not according to plausible but debatable definitions supplied by enforcement agencies, prosecutors, or courts, and that the rule of lenity requires any ambiguities to be resolved narrowly in favor of the defendant, not broadly in favor of the government.